think of the summer, not like, oh no, like they're coming in droves, but instead like, hey, you're probably only going to have 18 of these with your kids. So to realize that, wait, this may feel burdensome, like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with all these kids all day at home? Oh my word. I just can't wait till school to start again. But have that perspective of this is going to fly. So while it's here, why don't I enjoy it?
Hey there, you're listening to the Girls Talking Life podcast, and I'm your host, Johanna. If you're like me, you love time with friends. I always leave feeling encouraged, inspired to try something different, or I've learned something new. So why not continue to grow even when we can't be with our girlfriends? We're not made to do life on our own. So in each episode of this show, I'll bring you a girl and her story to give you refreshing ideas to stir your soul. Let's walk this road together. Are you ready to talk life? Hello and welcome to episode number 112. We are starting a short 2-part series called Intentional Reset. And today I'm talking with Arlene Pellicane about how we can plan ahead now, intentionally reset our schedules and our habits, and create a fun and successful summer for our families. While we do specifically talk about summer in this episode, these ideas can be applied to any new season you're about to enter. Arlene is the co-author of the popular book Screen Kids, along with Dr. Gary Chapman. She speaks and writes to impact and improve families, and she is here to share her expertise with us. You'll hear us talking about planning ahead for success, getting your kids involved, creating a technology plan, resetting your own screen time, and what to do when all these terrific plans fail us. Arlene is a speaker, host of the Happy Home podcast, author of several books, including Parents Rising, 31 Days to a Happy Husband, and Screen Kids. Arlene has been featured on The Today Show, Fox and Friends, The Wall Street Journal, and Focus on the Family. She lives in San Diego with her husband James and their 3 children. Everything she and I talk about can be found on girlstalkinglife.com. Here's my conversation with Arlene. Hello, Arlene. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's so much fun to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
You are a trusted name when it comes to parenting and home and marriage. And I would love to know just a little bit about your background and how you came to serve families in this way.
Yeah. I was that teenager that really dreamt of getting married and having children and just wanted that so much. And I remember my senior year in high school, it was a special chapel and the visiting person came up to me. I was praying at the altar and he said, like, God has a man of God for your life. Right. And that meant so much to me because I had never dated, I was a senior in high school. And, obviously now as an adult, it seems like big deal. You're a senior in high school. But at that moment, that word was like gold to me, and so basically had gone through college, had worked for 4 years, wondering where is this Prince Charming that I have been waiting for? So when I did get married to James, and was able, after infertility and different things, to have children, it was very much like, wow, this is very, very special to be able to have a spouse, to be able to have children. And I think in our current culture, it's more like like a ball and chain or something like, oh, now you've got the spouse and now you've got these kids. And to really try to turn that around to say, these are huge blessings. They're not necessary. You can be single and full of purpose and have an amazing life. But if you have a family, you should cherish it. You should treasure it. And so that's kind of where all that came from. And then I love to write and I love to speak. So when I was a stay-home mom, my husband challenged me. He said, you can quit your little freelance writing job if you want, and you can write on your own. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And that's how it started. So I've been writing books and speaking and podcasting and all that while being a stay-home mom. And it's been just fantastic.
And you have several books serving families, and you also have your podcast, The Happy Home. And I wanted to bring you on today, Arlene, because we are getting ready for summer. Summer is weeks away. For some of us, summer break is days away. And as we think about moving into this different season, we want it to go well and to be successful. But I was talking with a friend, and it's almost like a really fine line between setting up a good structure and having things not be chaos, and also wanting, days of unstructure and just fun, and even for your kids to be bored. So how do we set up and how do we plan ahead and create these rhythms that will serve us for summer?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I feel like those principles are be realistic. Like, don't set up things that are like, we are never going to be able to do that. So by day 3, this will definitely fail. So you need to be realistic. But on the other hand, you do need to be proactive. If you just say like, well, let's just see how this goes, then by day 2, everybody's going to be on a screen and you're going to be like, I guess this is working. And the whole summer will go by and you'll be like, oops, like we probably should have like done a few things here. So do have some kind of proactive, pre-decide, maybe what you won't do. Pre-decide that after 5 hours, kids, like all this stuff is going to disappear. Like you cannot be sitting here for more than 5 hours or for whatever your thing is about digital candy. I like to call it digital vegetables, digital candy. Some of the screen time is good for you. All content is not equal, but when your kids are just having candy online. So, set a limit for that. Another way to look at it is putting in good things first. Like before we get to the screens, we need to do these things and have that planned out. So you really kind of have to see, like, are you able to, how proactive can you be in this time slot? Like if you're there and you're able to do this, then you might say, okay, we'll do one activity a day. And the activity could be like, we are going to the grocery store and then we're going to the park. And that's the activity for the day. Another activity is like, hey, we're going to go to the zoo. Another activity is like, hey, we're going to bake cookies and bring them to our neighbor. So this is just like one activity a day. This isn't like, you have to run a day camp every day of your summer break for your children. But I think if you can anchor an activity in your day that has nothing to do with screens, it will give you something to pull towards. So, hey, okay, guys, put everything away. We're going to go bake those cookies now. And then it gives you like a goal to get to. And it just is like that notch in the belt that, okay, this entire day wasn't wasted by all of us just being on screens. Like we did something together as a family and we had fun together, and kind of share the wealth. If you have more kids and even if they're younger, be like, okay, Thursday's your day to plan our activity. And that might be like, you're going to plan a game or you're going to plan a recipe or you're going to plan like, and make every child maybe do one home improvement project, like one, like we are going to fix this or we are going to weed or, I mean, obviously it's very boring, but you make a list. Like these are the things that we need to improve in our house, whether it's painting the fence or doing the weeds or cleaning the kitchen cabinets, which in my home have not been touched for 10 years, things like that those make it kind of fun, like make it a game. So I think being proactive is very good. And even dreaming a little bit, like what would your ideal summer look like and feel like? And if you could look at the summer as a pause, like here we are, we have school, we have deadlines, we have homework, we have tons of online work. Kids are on the screens all the time. Parents are on the screens all the time. What if during the summer, we've very proactively said, this is the week in the summer where all of us are going to come off of social media, all of us, including the adults. Or this is the week that none of us are going to play video games. And instead, we're going to do a different board game every night. Or, just being really proactive. And again, notice I didn't say the whole summer because that might be a bit overwhelming. But for you to put in the calendar, like, hey, that first week of July, this is what we're going to do. And do it all together as a family. So make it realistic, make it doable, but make it something that you'll say, yeah, we accomplished that together this summer and it brought us closer together. Because that's kind of the question. Are our screens bringing us closer together as a family or are they dividing us? So we're little silos in our own home. Dad's doing this, mom's doing this, kids doing this, teenagers doing this, and we're all alone. We're all together in the same room, but we're with our own personal entertainment. So our thought is, okay, during the summer, what are the moments where we can break down those silos and say, okay, we're all coming off of social media for a week and we're going to be forced to like figure out other things to do.
Those are so good. And I love all the intentionality behind that. And especially the home improvement projects.
Exactly. Might as well get a few things done.
Yes, that is definitely going to be on my list. So I think of summer, like we talked about, as a reset. Your schedule might change, not for all of us, but for a lot of us, it's a little slower. No alarm clocks in my house. I'm so excited. And you have the ability to add in things and take out things maybe that aren't serving your family or that just aren't going to serve them for this season. And in your book, Parents Rising, you have chapters like routine and boundaries and Bible and prayer every day, good food. Love is spelled Time. Do you have any more ideas about how we can reimagine our summer using those strategies?
Yeah. I love that how you're just like making me remember, like, let's say you just take one thing, like the Bible and prayer every day. And so this is the idea that it's just not 1 hour on Sunday where, okay, this is how we worship God, guys. And then the rest of the week, there's like no trace. You know what I mean? So it's the idea of like, how can we incorporate, do our kids see us reading the Bible? Do our kids hear us praying? And I'm not talking about a 1 hour prayer meeting. I'm talking about them when they leave the house to go to school, when they come back home, when they have a problem, or we say, oh, let's pray about that. And we just say a few sentences right then and there to pray. So let's say you're not really great at that. That's not something you grew up with. It's not something you're used to doing. It's kind of like awkward. The summer is a wonderful time just to practice and say, how can I incorporate the Bible and a prayer into every single day this summer? And honest, it does not have to be super hard. It's just putting the Bible on the breakfast table. And then when you guys are having breakfast or when you see your child having breakfast, be like, hey, I read this verse this morning. It was so cool. And you read the verse to your child and that's it. Like it doesn't have to be this huge, super hard thing. And then with the prayer time, I always like to link it to something so it's easier for it to become a habit. So bedtime obviously is a very good time to pray for your kids, even for your teenagers, to have a prayer over your 18-year-old. Those are good moments. So maybe you've lost that rhythm because it's been so busy during the year. The summertime is a wonderful way just to say, how can I on a daily basis put the word of God in my child's life? And how can I pray over them out loud so they can hear me? And so it's as simple as, hey, they're going to go out to meet their friends. Okay, great. Lord, I just pray that you will bless their time together. I pray, God, that their conversation would be good, solid, helpful. We pray that they would have so much fun and it would really help both of them not to be lonely, but just to feel your spirit. Amen. Like it's not like this long thing, but incorporate it. And maybe the summer is a really nice way to think, this is when I'm going to start this. I'm going to start doing the prayer and the Bible because we're not running around crazy, going to school and going to practice and going to this. So this is a great time to do this.
I don't know about your kids, Arlene, but we have kids of similar ages.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I try to implement something like that, I just get an eye roll or, come on, Mom's Mom.
Doing her thing.
How do you fight back against that?
I say you just roll your eyes right back at them. They roll their eyes. You roll your eyes. It kind of depends on your personality. So they roll their eyes. You roll your eyes. And, I know I'm a crazy mom, but I love you, and you just go on. Because the thing is, they may roll their eyes and they may act that way. But at the end of the day, can you imagine? Are they really going to think, oh, my word, my mom prays for me and my mom reads me encouraging words from the Bible. Like I hate her, so they might have this show, but in truth, they're going to appreciate that you have spoken these things. Now, again, it's not a half an hour lecture. It's not even a 5-minute prayer. So do keep it shorter so that the eye rolls, don't get too dramatic. But it could be also that they're just trying to get a reaction from you and they roll your eyes and you just like do nothing and you just keep doing it. Like you can give me whatever you want and I will still keep doing this. I will be consistent. This is a permanent fixture in our summer and there's nothing you can do about it. And we had alluded to this in terms of things to restart. One other thing to restart, and it is kind of crazy and might feel countercultural, but to take that phone away during the summer at night. And your child might say like, why are you taking this away now? Like now I can sleep in till 3:00 in the afternoon if I want to. Why can't I have my phone overnight? But they really do physically need the reset of getting a good night's sleep. So that is a really good summer thing to say. I know this might sound crazy because you're not in school and this should be the time where you can like hang out and do all this stuff. But we're going to take your phone at 11:00 at night. And you can have it back at 6:00 in the morning if you're awake, but we are going to take it at 11. Give your child the opportunity to have a summer of sleep where they are actually sleeping.
That is great advice. And on the Apple products, you can even have them turn off at a certain time.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Less of a physical, I'm taking this from you as, this boundary is already in place. Here it is. This will happen automatically. Okay. So you just brought it up. Let's keep talking about technology. there is a very real possibility that they are going to fight that and they're going to want to be on their phones even more because they have this extra time. And, I could go outside and do this, or I could just sit here and be on my phone or my screen of whatever kind. How do we develop a plan to make sure that that doesn't happen?
I think for your younger kids, so, like 10 and younger, 11, 12, this is very much like just something you as a parent dictate. Like your kids can give you all the reasons in the world why they want to still be gaming, why they want to be on social media, why they just want to watch YouTube all day. They could talk until they're blue in the face, but you're just going to be like, you know what? This is really just, even from a health perspective, not that great that you're sitting still for this many hours a day. Like forget the soul, forget social benefits, but just look at you. Like, we've got to get you out. So I think as with younger kids, these are non-negotiable things that you just say, you know what, this isn't healthy, so we're just not going to do this. With your older kids, like 12 and up, and even, you know your kids, I would really help them get ownership and help them understand, is this really what you want your summer to be like? Is this really, when you think of the summer of 23, is this the memory you want to have? And I love Andrew Huberman out of Stanford, his definition of addiction, which is the gradual narrowing of what brings you pleasure. The gradual narrowing of what brings you pleasure. Your summer break should be like outside, swimming, boats, popsicles, watermelon, butterflies, fireworks. It should be all these different things. And if it's only video games, it's only TikTok, it's only social media, and if that thing was taken away, there's no pleasure, that's a huge warning sign. And I think if we can help our children understand that for themselves, like, is this really, you want pleasure only from one thing? Because that's kind of what's happening right now, or what's being threatened to happen. Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of the road we're on. So, hey, we don't have them, if they can see for themselves, like, wow, this is so much more fun when I go out and I watch the fireworks. This is so much fun when I sit on the lake. This is so much more fun when I go swimming with my friends. Just really help them to see that, hey, compare those experiences. You know, how do you feel after those things? What do you think is better for you? And really try to put it more on them, so they're starting to see, wait a minute, I actually like it more when I'm not sitting inside all day long in my room. I actually like that better too. And then work together to have this rhythm of, okay, let's put together those play dates in real life with real people, where we're going to the pool and we're going to the mall and we're going to the park and we're having a barbecue. Like, let's go ahead and do that.
That's really good. Empowering them and giving them the tools to do it themselves and to make that realization. I am taking a quick pause in the conversation to let you know about today's sponsor. Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed and uncertain about your faith, business, and relationships? Look no further than the Simply Wholehearted podcast. Join certified marriage and family Enneagram coach Amy Wicks as she shares stories, expert advice, and practical tips to help you thrive in business, relationships, and personal growth. You might remember Amy from episode 82, where she and I talked about deepening our friendships with the Enneagram. With nearly 300 episodes and 6 years of experience, the Simply Wholehearted podcast is the ultimate destination for anyone looking for tools and insights to overcome anxiety, self-doubt, and overwhelm. Plus, don't miss out on our special podcast playlist for each Enneagram type. I am a type 9, and I can't wait to see which episodes are going to be most helpful for me. Learn more at simplywholehearted.com, or find the link for these customized playlists in the show notes. Find the Simply Wholehearted podcast on your favorite listening app and start living your best wholehearted life. Now, back to my conversation. You have made some choices around technology in your own family that differ from a lot of the rest of the culture. Would you mind sharing that?
Of course. Yeah. So this is something, it's like something you can do. It's not something you have to do, but it's actually a viable option. So we just decided, we live in San Diego. Our kids go to public school, and we just decided that video games, social media, the cons outweigh the pros, right? So any way you do this, there's going to be a loss. If your child does not play video games, they will get left out of certain things. But as my son, who is not allowed to play video games, now he's a freshman in college, never played video games, he'll say like, I don't really want to be with the kind of people that would just be like, oh, you don't play Call of Duty? Like, I can't be your friend. Like there's got to be more there. So he says, all my friends play these video games, but they're okay that I don't play the video games and we still can be friends. So it actually kind of works that way to kind of filter out good and bad friends. Because when you think of it, a lot of times we give our kids these things because we don't want them to be left out. And so kind of carry that through like, okay, I didn't give my girl social media. So then you would think, oh, they're a junior in high school. They're an eighth grader. They're left out. Well, what are they left out of? They're left out of a lot of social pressure. They're left out of bullying. They're left out of this ideal body shape. They're left out of pornography. They're left out of, you know what I mean? They're left out of a lot of dangerous things. So there's a gain and there's a loss, and you have to decide where that is and where it's best in your family. So for us, we just decided no social media, no video games all the way through high school. And then when they are in college and beyond, they can make the choices they want, but now their brain has fully formed, at least most of it, without those kinds of addictions or pressures. And then we realized that it's the smartphone. It's having your own personal device that makes all of those things so easy and that leads to addictive behavior so easily. And, does it mean that if your child has a phone, they're going to be addicted to these things? No, they might handle it in a lovely and wonderful way. But is it more likely? They have now what I call, it's like walking around with a huge bag of M&Ms in my pot, kind of strapped to my body and saying to myself, I'll only eat 10. Like, that's really hard to do. And when you give a child a smartphone at any age and say, hey, have self-control, it's really hard. It's really, really hard because it's all created to get their attention. So they don't have smartphones. So my kids go to school, junior in high school, eighth grader, no phone. They're pretty much the only people that don't have phones. My junior is now at the point where we have said, when you're a senior, if you want to have a phone, we can certainly talk about that. But she doesn't want one. She's like, Mom, I've gotten this far without one. And she sees that I don't want to waste so much. If I have a phone, I'll waste a lot of my time there. And instead, I'd like to. And then she likes to draw. She likes to do all these things. She's like, I'd much rather spend my time doing those kinds of things. So for her, it's become ingrained. So all that to say, you really can push back that smartphone. That's the biggest, hugest thing I can say to you as a parent if you haven't given your child a phone yet. Think of Bill Gates. He knew a lot about phones. His kids did not have their phone until high school. So if you've got some sixth grader that's just begging you for a phone, you can be like, hey, yeah, Bill Gates. They waited till high school. Steve Jobs, when he was asked, hey, how do your kids like the iPad? He's like, oh yeah, my kids, I don't let them have an iPad. So we need to take stock in what these leaders have done and really translate that into our own lives.
Back to the M&Ms in your pocket. We say it's hard for our kids to have that self-control, but yeah, I might be wanting to eat those M&Ms too.
Totally.
They're right there, right?
All day long.
So we need to be setting good examples for our kids in that same way. And summer might be a good time to check ourselves. And you have a 5-step plan in your book, Calm, Cool, and Connected, about decluttering our own screen time. Do you mind sharing some of those?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to give it to you just like a bite-sized piece. And then that book, Calm, Cool, and Connected, will help you more practically. But it's really the idea of habits, because we can think these things, we can will these things, but they don't really become real until we can make them easy habits that we can repeat over time. So using the word habit, the H is hold down the off button. Have rhythms in your life where you are not holding your phone, where it's charged overnight somewhere else, where mealtime is a great time for this, where there's no phones on the table. Summer is a great place to start this if you haven't done that already. So hold down the off button, your whole family, at some point in the day. The A is always put people first. So if someone walks in the room, are you looking down at your device? And if that happens once in a while, that's not a big deal. But every time someone comes up to you, if you are looking at your device, that person is going to get the message, I am not very important. And so you've got to always put people first. B is brush daily. The B in habit is brush daily. And it's the idea of keeping a clean conscience. There's a lot of ways you can go down bad paths on the internet. I mean, obviously there are very dark places that, like, I am not supposed to be here, but there are other places like I am just shopping too much, or I am just like wasting time. Like I'm reading all these articles, all this clickbait, and I'm really not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So just, Lord, am I being wise when I'm online? And then the I in habit is I will go online with purpose, that you're going to have to use your device during the summertime. You're probably going to have to get some work done while your children are there. And you can say to them, okay, mommy's got to write a report, and I'm going to write my report, and I hope to be done in an hour and a half. And then in an hour and a half, we can go take a short walk around the block, or we can have a popsicle together, and really try to keep yourself to that time. So I think if you tell your kids, this is what I'm going to do online right now. I am posting on social media because mommy has to sell this product. So you're going to see me scrolling on social media, and I will be done in 15 minutes. That helps them to understand what is it that you're doing, and you're saying like, I'm basically doing a digital vegetable. It also helps us to be accountable to like, oops, yes, I told them I was like posting something and I'm literally just looking at like this band I like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it helps us. So go online with purpose. And then that last T, the habit, is take a hike, like make it purposeful that you will get outside, that you won't always be inside, because the heavens declare the glory of God. And there is like a replenishing that can come in the summertime when you're at the lake, when you're looking at the ocean, when you're in the pool, like all those things, those are good rhythms. And when we are inside all the time, we're more stressful, and we're looking at a screen all the time, we're more stressful. So take that welcome of the summer for yourself too, to be like, yeah, mommy's going to take a break also.
Yeah, that's so, so good. I love how you said, let them know what you're doing, because I appreciate it when people do that to me. If my husband is in the living room on his phone at night, I'm like, what are you doing? I feel like you're not with me.
Right.
And if he says, my brother just texted me, I wanted to get back to him, I'll be with you in a minute.
Yeah.
That makes me feel so much better.
It changes everything. Then you're like, of course you're texting your brother back. That's fabulous, right? Otherwise you're like, you're always on the phone. Like I am right here and you're always on the phone. So it is really, I think, a good practice when you're with other people, like you're literally in the same room together, to explain, this is what I'm doing. And when this is done, we can go do something.
Right. My attention will be yours.
Yeah.
Even if we make this great plan for summer, it's going well, at some point, stress is going to creep in. Siblings are going to be fighting. Chores are not going to be getting done. There's just so many people in the house all the time. What are your best tips for staying calm and reducing that mom stress?
It's like, day 3 and this has already happened. Like, wait a minute. It's only like June 10th. What are we doing? So honestly, like kind of just know that that's going to happen, and that's okay. And I think having the core things in your summer that are the non-negotiables kind of help, so that if you feel like, okay, everything is not really working as planned, but we have collected the phones overnight, or had it turn off overnight, or we have done that mealtime thing really well. So just have that core anchor thing that, hey, we've got a win here. Because a lot of times if you have that win, like we are reading 15 minutes a day, every day, like we have picked a book that's like a fiction book that's really like a page turner, and I'm reading it out loud to my kids every night after dinner, and that's working. Fabulous. Like have that anchor win that is doable and fun, that you can say, no, we're not going to give up. We've got this win. Now let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's not give up. So I think that's really important to think that. And then remember to laugh. Like you don't have to take everything so seriously. Like a lot of de-stressing is laughter. So maybe that's, watching a funny movie together as a family. Maybe that's Tim Hawkins, one of my favorite comedians. Maybe, whatever, like find something to laugh about together, and then look at your sleep cycle, like as a mom, not just the kids, but you are the adults getting enough sleep, because that will help a lot. Because if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to be super cranky also. So make sure you're getting enough sleep. And then even exercise, summer kind of lends itself to more activity, to doing things together. And the more you exercise, either alone, individually, or together as a family, that would be amazing. You're going to feel better. And that's going to help you also feel less stress. So I think laughing, sweating, sleeping, all those, they're just normal things of life. But in the busyness, we forget like how important a good night's sleep is, getting some exercise and not being so serious all the time. That could really help us.
Having a great workout usually lends itself to good sleep then that night
it's
too.
true.
It's all connected.
It does connect to each other.
I would like to know, what are your favorite five, Arlene? What are things that you are wearing or watching or doing that are your favorites right now?
All right. So right now, one of my favorites is the Gabb phone. It's a Gabb wireless phone, Gabb, and it's a dumb phone. So basically it doesn't go on the internet, social media, or games, but it has GPS. You can find your child. The child can text, they can group text, they can take pictures, they can listen to music. So all the reasons they say, I have to have a phone to keep in touch with you, it has that. And it's like not clunky looking. Like they have a Samsung version that looks pretty. Like if they just have it in their pocket, they don't know that this is not a smartphone. So I really like that. So the Gabb phone, Gabb. And then I do have a thing where if you use the word Arlene, as you look at that, you can get a discount. So that's gabb.com and then use the word Arlene. So I love that. Then my second thing is I love The Chosen. I love The Chosen, and we've been kind of busy. So I'm waiting for my girls to be able to watch with me. So they haven't been able to do that yet. So we're waiting. We're kind of like on the third episode of season 3. So I'm super excited when we get to catch up and watch The Chosen. Maybe one episode this weekend. I'm excited about that. The third thing we're super into is Hans Zimmer, the composer. So my kids love music. They play the piano. So Hans Zimmer, some of you may be like, I don't know who Hans Zimmer is. You do know who Hans Zimmer is because if you watch movies, you do. So that's Lion King, Gladiator, Man of Steel, Inception, all those movies, Pirates, that's all Hans Zimmer. So we are really into Hans Zimmer music right now. We listen to it. It helps me work, all those things. So we love Hans Zimmer. My fourth thing is I have plantar fasciitis, so my feet kind of hurt and stuff. But what I found is if I wear certain shoes, they don't hurt at all. So Birkenstock and Vionic are basically like all I can wear right now. So you'll be like, oh, wow, there's Arlene, and she's in a Birkenstock or she's in a Vionic. Lovely. So it's limited, but you know what? I have no pain, and I kind of love that. And then this is dorky, but the last thing is bananas. We eat so many bananas in this home. And so I love Costco because every time I go to Costco, I get 3 bunches of bananas. And it's like, I try to get them in different colors, like yellow, green, if they have it, but we always eat bananas and they're so easy and you just take them with you. And I think it's God's amazing fruit. I don't have to peel it. I mean, I do have to peel it, but I don't have to do it like manually. Like it's so easy. Right. I'm just like, God, thank you so much that you have made the banana. So those are my 5.
Those are really great. Thank you for sharing them. And The Chosen, that is something that you could add to your summer plan for
your
rainy days.
And you feel good about it. Yes.
Right. You can discuss after.
Yes, it's so true.
Arlene, I would love to hear what your last words of encouragement for us are to have happy homes this summer.
Think of the summer not like, oh no, like they're coming in droves. And this is, but instead like, hey, you're probably only going to have 18 of these with your kids, and so they're going to graduate out. And, I'm at the stage of my home where I've got a college student, I've got a junior, I've got an 8th grader, and it's very real. Like there was going to come a summer in my life where it's not any different than any other day in my life. And if I'm lucky, I might be able to squeak out a 1-week vacation trying to pull all the family together from all over. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to realize that, wait, this may feel burdensome. Like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with all these kids all day at home? Oh my word. I just can't wait till school to start again. So those are real feelings. Yes. Vent those out with your friends. Yes. But have that perspective of this is going to fly. And I'm not going to have this anymore. So while it's here, why don't I enjoy it? And that really is parenthood. While I am here at this station in life, why don't I enjoy it? Because believe me, you're going to get older and you're going to be like, oh, remember when he was in 5th grade? That was like so awesome. Remember when she was 2? She was so cute. Like you're going to look back and really think this was amazing. So you might as well enjoy it now. So take advantage of it. Enjoy the summertime. Plan something that will be very memorable and that you'll really enjoy.
Just this week, my kitchen was a mess for the, 20th time. And I thought, oh, when my kids are out of the house, this kitchen will finally be clean on a regular basis. And then I was like, no,
Yeah.
Do not think that. I will be so sad when they're gone, and I will miss the crumbs and the dishes. And
you'll be like, where'd all my people go? Right. It's true.
Right. So don't wish it away. Those are great words.
Yeah.
Arlene, you are lovely. I have so enjoyed this conversation with you. You have wise, wise things to say to moms and to families. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing that.
Thank you so much. It's been so fun to be with you. And I want to invite your moms to come to happyhomeuniversity.com because, my kids, I did like a little documentary of like, what's it like without a smartphone? Like, do people make fun of you? And do you actually have friends? Things like that. So it's something you can watch yourself and then even show your older kids and teenagers and just let them watch it and let them see like, oh, here are other teenagers and what they have to say. And if anything, it just puts it in their mind that you are not crazy. Like you're not the only one on the entire planet who thinks this way or is limiting, they'll be like, oh my word, there's a crazier family down the street. So that's what I am here to do for you.
That is excellent. And we should say you have the Happy Home podcast. Anything else that you want to mention?
And if you have been thinking about this and you need help, my book, Screen Kids with Dr. Gary Chapman is really helpful. So Screen Kids, by myself, Arlene Pellicane, and Dr. Gary Chapman.
All right. Thank you, Arlene.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. I love chatting with Arlene and starting to think through all of these things for my summer. I definitely want to add in a Bible and daily prayer component for my girls. We need to talk through and reestablish our technology plan. We'll reset chores and allowance specifically for summer. I'm hoping our whole family will sit down and create a summer bucket list of things that are important to us and that we want to make sure that we do in this next season. I'm also planning to revive some house rules that seem to have been forgotten in the chaos of spring. What intentional resets are running through your mind? What needs to be added in or taken out of your daily routines? I would love to hear your answers. Send me an email or DM me on Instagram and let me know. Everything Arlene and I talked about, including all the ways to connect with her, can be found in the show notes for today's episode. Friend, don't let the conversation stop when the show is over. Share your story and start your own conversations with the girls in your life. I'll be back here in 2 weeks. Thanks for tuning in.